Good morning, everyone. So, November 20th is a very special day for me because it's my dad's birthday. Um, and although he's no longer with us, it's a day where I celebrate his life and remember him more than other days. And today I thought I would share a full circle moment I had regarding his sudden death and healing myself. Um, this full circle moment happened, 10 years after he passed away, because this year marks the 10th year that he has left, and he hasn't been with us. But this year I was able to finally let go of this protective mechanism I had over my heart to protect me from the pain of losing him all of a sudden, without warning, and to actually feel what I felt back when he left. So, I thought I would share that because I learned something very important that I didn't know 10 years ago. And as leftover family of someone who took his own life, or someone who takes their own life, like the family that's left over can really face struggles and emotional challenges, and all kinds of challenges after a loved one takes their own life. So I thought, if this becomes a seed of healing for somebody, or a seed of empowerment for somebody, I would love that. And also, I know that my dad would love that as well. So, yeah, 10 years ago, and maybe you know this already, maybe you don't know, but 10 years ago, my dad took his own life out of the blue, and I was in Canada and he was in Japan. So there's this physical distance between us. And also, I was very busy being a first year university student and having fun, enjoying my freedom. And I hadn't talked to him for a few weeks prior to him taking his life. And, one morning I got a call from my mom and I learned that my dad had taken his own life. And I was in shock, honestly. And thank God for my friend that was there with me, because I was just going through the motions for a day. And I flew back the next day to Japan to, attend his funeral and all that. So, be with family. But at that time, I had forced myself to really be okay. I was still in that very toxic mindset of like, I need to force positivity. And also, I was playing the role of caretaker for my mom, who was very down, and she was basically bedridden, like with the shock. And so I thought I needed to be strong and didn't allow myself to really grieve. I did when I was by myself on the airplane home, but otherwise, I didn't really let myself be sad. I thought I needed to stay strong, which was to just pretend to be happy. And what was I going to say? Yeah, I kept myself busy by pretending to be happy and taking care of my mom. I wasn't really taking care of myself at all. I was distracting myself a lot. And I also played the role of being this very understanding person this was a limiting belief. This is where inner child healing um, comes into play as well. I learned that I thought I needed to be an understanding person in order to be loved. In order to connect with other people, I thought I needed to understand everything. Like, understand a person's situation, understand why people are treating me, and just allow that. Just be okay. I thought being an understanding person meant that I was okay with everything and just swallowing everything, all the way people treat me, all the way people are, etc. And not feel any anger or sadness, disappointment, not be upset at how people are. I thought I just needed to be very happy and accepting of everything, like accepting as in, yeah, be content with the way people interact with me, the way people treat me, etc. And I learned this year during my dieta with Noya Rao, had a huge process, and I realized regarding my dad leaving me, I had built this energetic wall around me like an armor to shield me from all the pain of him just leaving without telling us. He wrote a little letter for us, and I tried to be understanding because he was in pain. He had mental issues my whole childhood, and I didn't want him to be in pain anymore. And I knew that where he's at, that's not on earth, would be more healing than it is for him to be on earth. So I tried to be understanding and to accept him leaving without giving us a chance to say bye to him. And then I realized when this armor fell that I actually was very angry at him leaving without giving us a chance to say goodbye. Like, we love him so much, and he didn't give us a chance to at least send him off, at least be there by his side when he went. Like, how could he? All these feelings of like, how fucking dare you? And what do you think of us? And like these angry thoughts, anger really filled up my body. And I'd never felt this before. I felt anger about him leaving my mom. Like they had plans for retirement, and that's just gone when he left. But I didn't know I had anger towards him, like for not letting me say goodbye to him. And related to me, I think I felt a lot of shame, like why should I be angry at someone who passed away? But what I've learned is that it's okay. It's okay to feel everything that comes up when you lose a loved one. And that doesn't make you a bad person. And it also doesn't make you an not understanding person. You can have all these angry thoughts, sad, disappointment, all these feelings come up, but still be an understanding person. I didn't know that I needed to just accept these feelings that were coming up within me 10 years ago. I'd avoided them. And my perspective on being an accepting person or being able to accept really changed, because I thought acceptance was like to accept only certain emotions that were coming up, only the quote unquote good ones. But being able to accept or being an accepting person is like to be able to accept everything just as they are. And I'm finally able to do that with everything. Even the thoughts, the feelings that were coming up that made me feel selfish, and that made me feel like I'm not a good person, like the anger, for example. How could you? Like the betrayal that I felt, to finally accept that allowed me to move on and to shed this huge energetic armor that I built around me so that I could get to my truth again and get to my heart, because that was protecting my heart from feeling everything. But when that wall came out, or the wall broke, the armor broke, I did feel depressed for a few hours. I was also feeling very vulnerable and raw. The depressed feelings was like, and not being motivated to do anything, that was what I had missed out on 10 years ago, because I was just forcing myself to be okay. And it came back to me, and I realized, oh, this is actually a natural response to my father, who's very dear to me, passing away. I couldn't allow the natural back then, but now I did. I could. And I could also have compassion for myself, which is amazing. I didn't force myself to do anything, but just flowed with what the energy was really calling me to do, or what the energy felt like. Yeah, and once this wall or armor just disappeared, I could actually cry more again. And I felt so much healing in that as well. There's so many layers of healing to this, and shedding old ways of being and all that, and seeing. But when the when the armor fell, and the connection to my heart I regained that connection to my heart, I could actually cry and grieve and like really release the grief in my body. And with crying and releasing, fill my body with love and fill myself with love. And fill myself with unconditional love. And, unconditional, like that I can feel all these things that I ignored and I suppressed 10 years ago, and I'm still lovable. And it's like, yeah, it's like releasing the old and then filling up my body with new energies, more light, without making these shadowy parts or making the darkness like the bad guy or anything like that. Just filling myself with more love. And I thought that 10 years ago, the as more years passed by, that I wouldn't get emotional or like, yeah, teary talking about him and his death or anything related to that for the matter. But that doesn't change, and I accepted that. I just see it so clearly. It's it's because it is an emotional experience, and that's okay. And 10 years ago, I would have felt like I needed to get stronger or whatever, but you can also be strong and get emotional at the same time. Um, but yeah, my main message, I guess, is to for my main message is for you to feel like, it's okay to feel everything. You don't need to try to force yourself to accept someone's death, especially when it's so sudden, to love them. I think to show that you love them. Our hearts work in very unique ways. And, I was trying to be okay with my dad just suddenly being gone and not have any feelings of resentment. But I think that's natural when you love someone that, like, and then they disappear all of a sudden. That, how could you, and all that. And feeling resentment doesn't mean that, like, you don't love them, and it doesn't make you less than. And also, yeah, like, it doesn't make you a bad person. And also, like, your loved ones won't be mad at you for feeling any resentment towards them leaving. Love is interesting like that. So, yeah, this goes out for anyone, but in particular, I hope it reaches you if you're someone who have lost a family member to suicide, and are still here, and you're still here. So, yeah, thank you for listening to and watching this long video. And I hope that there's something in this for you, for your healing, and for your empowerment and growth and discovery. If you have any comments, feel free to leave them in the comments below. And yeah, I'll see you soon.